Okay, everyone, today is June 8th. This is going to be our lecture on, as you can see here, elements of expository essay. This week we're going to look at the expository essay, often called the informative essay because it does just that. It seeks to inform the reader on any given subject matter. In this way, think about expository, the word expository, in terms of the word exposing the reader to a topic and exploring various what we call facets of that topic. Because of this, unlike the personal essay, you will have an introductory paragraph that must distill down to a thesis statement. This essay, every essay moving forward past the personal essay is going to have a thesis statement that comes at the very end of the introductory paragraph, right? Your first paragraph. We'll look at a few examples of expository or thesis statements with regard to expository essays in a moment towards the end of this lecture. But just note, this essay differs from the personal essay as what will include direct quotes, paraphrases, or maybe a summary, and we'll have in-text citations, 2 to 3 in fact. You're going to have 2 to 3 in-text citations for this 3 to 5 page double-spaced essay. And those 2 to 3 in-text citations will correspond or marry up to 2 to 3 entries on your works cited page. All right, let's take a look at various types of expository essay. So what does an expository essay actually do? We know it exposes or it seeks to inform. As you can see above, the expository essay moves in a number of modes. One, as you can see here, it seeks to define something. In this example, if the subject of my essay was social work, the essay could completely dedicate itself to defining what social work actually is. Two, the expository essay can seek to demonstrate or show a process. Again, sticking to the profession of social work, this type of essay would ask and attempt to even answer, how does one become a social worker? What exactly does that process entail? And three, you may choose to compare and contrast the profession of social work to some other occupation, adequately demonstrating how they are the same or starkly different. Let's expand on these three concepts. Okay, so you may choose to write your expository essay by just adhering to one of those three elements, or you can combine all three. But if we do look at define, process, or compare and contrast, you might want to just choose one. But I would say, as I said before, the most effective ones combine all three. You would define, show the process or how it's done or accomplished, and compare and contrast it to other things. Here's an example of giving a definition or even background information on this essay's topic, which is, as we know, social work. So I'll just go ahead and read it aloud. The primary mission of the social work profession is to enhance human well-being and help meet the basic human needs of all people, with particular attention to the needs and empowerment of people who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. A historic and defining feature of social work is the profession's focus on individual well-being in a social context and the well-being of society. And according to Social Workers Code of Ethics, quote, fundamental to social work is attention to the environmental forces that create, contribute to, and address problems in living. Social workers promote social justice and social change with and on behalf of clients, end quote. And notice after the end quote, I have the in-text citation, Reamer. And if you look below where it says works cited, you can see Frederick Reamer was the author of this quote that I pulled just off from online. And you can see the title of the article that I read was Why Our World Needs Social Work. This is what a works cited entry would actually look like. Notice too how in the setting up of my quote I use an attribution, in this case the according to Social Workers Code of Ethics. I want us to do that as well. Even a better way to do this would be to qualify Frederick Reamer. He's a PhD in social work, so that would have been something great. According to Frederick Reamer, a PhD in social work, who said, quote, fundamental to social work is attention to the environmental forces that create, contribute to, and address problems in living. That would have been stronger. We understand his expertise at that point. He's a PhD in social work. So that would have been sort of an important fact that would have convinced us that he was an authority in the subject matter of social work. And you can see how the in-text citation, where it's in the parentheses Reamer up top, has complete fidelity to the first thing I see on the works cited entry, which says Reamer, right? We wouldn't want to have Why Our World Needs Social Work, that title of the article, as the first thing I see, and then Reamer, comma, Frederick, period, right? It's got to be whatever's in the in-text citation in your paragraph, in the body of your essay, needs to be the first thing I see on the works cited. And of course, the works cited, as always, has to be alphabetized, okay? was us defining social work. Now let's look at what the process would look like. So here we have the process or how one could become a social worker. I'm just going to go ahead and read it aloud. And you would not break this down on your essay with sort of subtitles that I put in here, like the word process that I emboldened, right? That would be absent. This is just for sort of the methodology of teaching you the various parts of the expository essay. Let me read this aloud. According to alberta.ca, social workers must have a diploma, bachelor's degree, or master's degree in social work. Some employers require a minimum of Bachelor of Social Work, a BSW degree. Other requirements may include a criminal record check, child welfare intervention record check, a valid driver's license, and the use of a vehicle. And there are no quotation marks within this statement. Therefore, it's a paraphrase, right? It's me reading a direct quote from, in this case, alberta.ca, a website, and they're just putting in my own words. And also you could, well, here, because I couldn't find an author to this quote, but still wanted to incorporate this quote into my expository essay, you have to, as I did instead, use the title of the article in quotation marks. And because the title of the article was longer than 3 words, the original title was Social Work in the 20th Century, I shortened it to simply Social Worker. I want you to do the same. The long title, however, will still be listed on your works cited page as the long form, right? It would still be Social Worker in the 20th Century on your works cited page. But because it's so long, I shortened it to 2 to 3 words, Social Worker. That's perfectly fine. Don't make up, and notice I didn't have a page number. I didn't put a page number in because most likely the website that I was on, alberta.ca, simply didn't list any page numbers. And that's the sort of technological digital world we live in. There aren't going to be any page numbers as you're scrolling through an online article, and there weren't for this one. So don't make up page numbers. Don't include them if there isn't a page number. And the same thing goes for authors. If there isn't any authorship listed on a website and you still want to use the quote and it comes from a sort of a bona fide vetted website, then you simply use the title of the article in quotation marks in parentheses. And if the title of the article is really long, say more than 3 words, as we can see here, shorten it to 2 to 3 words. All right, but always list the long title on your works cited page. All right, here you can see we are choosing to compare and contrast social work to other occupations, which is perfectly permissible. And again, I think the most effective essays will combine all 3 of those elements that we looked at in a prior slide, on slide number 2. So let me go ahead and read this aloud. Compare and contrast, that would be omitted if it was incorporated within an essay. If this paragraph was incorporated within an essay, correct? We wouldn't have any subtitles. Social work is different to other occupations because those individuals in this field, according to the National Association of Social Workers website, quote, focus both on the person and their environment. And here I gave the in-text citation in quotation marks in parentheses why I choose the social. This article goes on to say how social workers deal with the, quote, external factors that impact a person's situation and outlook. Then I give my in-text citation, then the punctuation, the period, right? This profession, according to the same article, quote, creates opportunities for assessment and intervention to help clients and communities cope effectively with the reality and change that reality when necessary, unquote. And then I gave the in-text citation again, and then I closed the quote. So I over in-text cited within this paragraph. I could have just simply put the why choose the social at the very end of this paragraph instead of incorporating 2 other ones within the body of it. You could do either one. And I said before, I won't take anything off your grade if you oversight, which I did here. Notice the incorporation of my in-text citation. Like the previous slide, the article did not have an author. So instead, I did what MLA, Modern Language Association, tells us, and that is to use the title of the article instead. In this case, why choose the social, which was intentionally shortened by me, as the original title was too long as why choose the social work profession. I again want you to do the same. Your in-text, if you don't have an author, will contain the title of the article, online or otherwise, and shortened if more than 3 words. Remember too, this entry on the works cited will be the full title of the article, not the shortened version as we see here. Okay, I'm still going with the social work sort of theme for the paper that I'm hypothetically writing. I don't want you necessarily to choose what your major is or some profession. You can. It's fine if you do. But in this case, I chose social work, so I'm just going to keep going with that theme of that. So here we got a sample thesis statement. Within this essay, I will explore the required steps needed to become a social worker to include, and I give a summary here, interests, natural predilection, education, certification, licensing. And this summary that I give would be exactly what I mentioned, verbatim, point by point, paragraph by paragraph. So after this thesis statement, I would hit enter. My next paragraph would be interest. And I would say, I don't know, something to the effect of individuals that want to be a social worker must have a natural or have an interest within this occupation to include, and I'll give it various interests that you need to have, empathy and sympathy and those things. And then my next paragraph would be natural, and I would find a quote for the interest. I could reach out to various sources on the internet, find a quote that reinforces my statement. And then I would mention my next paragraph would be natural predilections. Individuals who want to go into social work must have a natural predilection. I would define maybe what natural predilection is, right? You have a natural inclination towards social work. And then I'll go out there in the World Wide Web, the internet, and find a quote that underpins that statement, right? And then I would keep going on. My next paragraph would be about education, and the next paragraph about certification and licensure, right? And notice too that you can be a partial source of expertise. However, the majority of the expertise will come from an outside authority, right? Reaching out to outside authorities, like we did with Reamer, who was a PhD in social work in the previous slide and in the previous quote. But say the topic that you choose is something of your interest that you want to explore or explain or inform the reader on, that's fine. But you got to be very careful with expository essays. We're going to see in a moment. The next slide, in fact. You can never try to persuade or argument on behalf of your subject matter, right? You can't sort of say, this essay is going to be about social work, which is an awesome, incredible vocation that one could undertake, right? Then you're obscuring the facts with your own opinion. That's what we have to avoid. This is how it differs, this essay, from argumentative, as we'll see in a moment. Okay, warning. Expository essay must not, no matter what, attempt to persuade the reader or argument on behalf of the subject matter. It only seeks to inform. You are simply informing the reader. You're going out there, you're choosing a topic, you're whittling down to a thesis statement, maybe with a summary, I would hope. I would like to see a summary right next to your thesis statement of the points that you're going to make, right? And that's sort of a springboard from your thesis statement into the actual body of the essay, right? And just go in order of how you mention them within your thesis statement, the summary of points that you want to make. Sometimes avoiding persuasion reduces down to how we use language and seek to balance within the essay, seek balance within the essay, right? So really trying to avoid qualifying words, and we'll look at a couple in a moment. Let's look first at two examples of thesis statements, one persuasive, the other expository. Okay, the first entry we see on this slide is persuasive or argumentative. Canada is a wonderful place to live due to the relatively low population, the expansive land, and robust economy. Versus the second one, which is highly expository. It strictly wants to inform the reader that Canada has a relatively low population, expansive land, and robust economy compared to other North American countries. So I'm informing by comparing and contrasting. I'm going to compare Canada to other North American countries, which would be Mexico or the United States, correct? You can clearly see here the first entry above is attempting to persuade the reader that Canada is wonderful for these variety of reasons. We, in our quest to craft our own expository essay, must absolutely seek to avoid this type of argumentative writing. The second entry above, as you can see, doesn't use any sort of qualifying language like the first does, like wonderful, right? The word wonderful is certainly qualifying language. We need to avoid qualifying language like this is very great and wonderful. And so in the quest for exploring, our subject matter with regard to our expository essay, avoid qualifying language at all costs. So you can see here within the slide, argumentative on the left side, which we're trying to avoid, and expository on the right side. So argumentative, the things that are thumbs down that we want to avoid, it chooses a position for or against something. We're not doing that. It may be written in first person, right? We're not going to do that because that tells us that we are sort of for one side or the other, right? Which we're not mentioning sides within these expository essays. Has a thesis statement presents the writer's argument. We're avoiding that, and it is the argumentative essay is subjective, meaning it's seen through the lens that is you, right? You're going to say in an argumentative essay, perhaps you're going to enter the I and say, I believe that people shouldn't serve life sentences even for murder in prison, right? See, that's an argumentative essay. An expository essay would write about the prison system, right? People in prison serve in many different capacities to include a life sentence, right? And then you would talk about how one gets a life sentence. So expository on the right-hand side is a thumbs up. You want to explore many angles of a topic in a neutral way. And that comes down to language. We'll look at examples in a moment of that. It is usually written in third person. There's a thesis statement presents the writer's topic. Is objective, meaning it doesn't have any dog in the fight. It's not attempting to obscure its thesis statement with any sort of opinion. So words to avoid because they tend to persuade would be wonderful, great, good, ideal, terrific, exceptional, awesome, right? Any word that seeks to qualify the subject matter you're choosing to write your essay on. In this way, our expository essay is sort of journalistic. Think of yourself as a reporter for a news magazine or organization that has no political slant or dog in any fight. You simply want to supply the facts to the reader without obscuring the facts with your opinion. Avoid your opinion in this essay. I can't stress enough that the expository essay must be objective, in that you are simply providing the facts, absent of your opinion or belief system. Okay, one final thing to think about when you sit down to craft your expository essay's rough draft will be the concept of scope. Simply put, scope is how pervasive or large of a landscape do you want to explore through your chosen subject matter or topic. So with the social worker example, uh, am I going to write an essay where I simply talk about how many social workers are in Canada? Or am I going to explore how many social workers are in Western Canada? I'm reducing my scope from very large, Western or Canada, all of Canada, to Western Canada, smaller scope. Or am I going to shorten the scope even more and find facts that support the amount of social workers in just the province of Alberta? Or even more specific and even a smaller scope, how many social workers are in the city of Medicine Hat? Just think about how deep you want to drill down on your chosen topic. You could dig deep on many topics within your subject matter, or you can choose instead to dig wide on one topic within your subject matter. Okay, questions as always. Please feel free to email me at any time if you have any questions or concerns. And just a reminder, your personal essay final draft is to be emailed to me by midnight tonight, and you can see my email address above. I'll email each of you a sample expository essay today, and we'll look at another example tomorrow, as well as some resources for this essay. And of course, this great experiment continues, the idea of being online, to include sort of the debacle that happened last week with Blackboard, how we could upload our essays to Blackboard, but we couldn't access commenting on them for whatever reason. I'm not sure we fixed the issue. We're going to have to modify it somehow. But what I'm going to do is we're going to open back up. I think it opens on Thursday. Yep, our essay is due on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday is dedicated to us commenting on our essays within Blackboard, our rough drafts, right? So we're going to try it again. I want you to go online on Thursday and Friday. On Wednesday, upload your essay. On Thursday and Friday, attempt to go in and comment on other people's essays, 5 essays. I'm going to set it up again so you can click on the left-hand side to upload your essay and then go in there and to make comments. And if it doesn't work, then we need to figure something out, and we'll see how that sort of manufactures itself if we face this problem in the future. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you guys later. Bye.